All right, we're live.
All right. The time is 6:35, and we are here in our brand new City Hall headquarters, council chambers on 15 North Broadway Avenue for our very first meeting. And with us tonight is Chris Hood, Craig Schulte, Kim Van Beck, Mike Roth, Michael Berry, Bill Lovis, Ben Peters, and Patrick Knight. And with that, we're going to start open forum. Is anyone here for open forum this evening? All right, thank you. The next most important is recognition of our first meeting. And with that, I had invited all of our past counselors that we were aware of whatever capacity, if they'd been mayor, council, whatever. Because this whole project took many, 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 many years and lots of hard conversations. And I thought everyone who'd worked hard here before should be sitting here this very first evening in this brand new room. So thanks to all of you who are able to make it this evening. And appreciate all of your efforts. And there's treats for everybody who's here tonight, and plenty of them. And I think I'd first like to ask us all to do a little toast to a building that is gone but served us well as our fire department, our police department, of course our city administration. It had offshoot capacity for other organizations, as well as an on and off sale liquor operation for many, many years. And so a wonderful memory of a great muni on sale. And so a big toast to what we had.
Yeah, here, here.
And thanks to all of you, now we have a wonderful new building we can be super proud of. I feel like when I drive by, it looks like it's always been there, and a great profitable liquor store, which should be a great for all of the employees there and welcoming to everyone. And yes, enjoy and thank you. Yay! We're going to do some photo ops, so if you three would like to come around behind here, we're going to take Kelly and Jan and Tim, since you guys showed up, we're going to do a little photo op of all of us.
Hey, Ben, would you grab
together.
Craig?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah. Be careful with Craig. Yeah.
Yeah.
Poster signs. Should we stand?
Make
sit,
sure I get
sit?
plugged in later here.
Oh my.
Only in a small town. Say cheese.
Jeez.
Excuse me.
I was thinking whiskey personally fits.
Yeah.
History making.
And I'd love to hear from any of you if you'd like to make a comment or whatever. Well, I guess our mics pick them up anywhere, huh?
But there's one right there.
There.
designed
So
for
if
the
any
very
would like to
purpose.
hang out to the mic while everyone's grabbing a cookie or a bar or something, some snacks.
I will just say quickly, because my grandfather was a bartender at the Muni for many years. When they came back from Florida, he served down there, and he would go to work 3 p.m. till close probably, because I remember Grandma making dinner was 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then he would put on his white shirt and his apron, and he would go work at the Muni, and there are plenty of stories. I missed going to the Muni. I got grandfathered in. The drinking age changed in September of 1985 from 19 to 21. So I believe that closed before, was it 84-ish maybe? Craig, do you remember? Somewhere in there? Because I know I did not make it to the Muni, which
I
my
would guess
grandfather would have thrown me out anyway, I'm
the
sure.
80s, yeah.
So anyway, it's really exciting to see the changes as somebody who worked in the liquor store, off sale at a young age, came back again in the early 2000s, served as city council to see what's happened. I'm really excited for our community, both working here in the hospital, we know that buildings need to stand for more than 10 years and serve our community. We're looking at another 100 years again. So I'm really proud of what became of this and where it ended. So thank all of you for your hard work.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Jan, Tim, and Kay, welcome. You just missed our big toasts, but there's snacks and treats, and Jan?
There.
And it goes green. Wow, that's lovely. That is lovely, as is, it's beautiful to be in this new space, but it also is exquisite space. I haven't looked around totally yet, but the floor coming in is stunning. This wall is lovely. So I'm imagining all these wonderful details are throughout this building. It's fabulous. And I also want to compliment you all on how well it was managed and came together very quickly and on budget, from what I understand. And all of those things are not easy to pull off. So I want to congratulate you all for a job really well done. So thank you.
Thank you for all your efforts, and that leads us, of course, into a huge thank you for McGough, because this is the second time they've done outstanding work for us and made that part of it easier for us enormously. So, hey, Tim.
Yeah, well, you know, I came on the council back in, I think it was 2001. And at that time, I was telling you earlier that Russell's Inc. and I went over to the old Forest Service building and looked at that as a possible relocation place for City Hall. We quickly decided that that wasn't the direction we were going, but the conversations kept on and kept on going, but never quite got to realization of anything that was going to be successful. I think it really was probably in the last 7 to 8 years that you know, the effort really picked up pace. And I mean, the need was there. It was always evident that the need was there, but it took a lot of persistence and work with councils that worked from a long time ago till today. And here we have this fantastic building. Mike took me for a tour right before the meeting, and the back office space is great. What a change from what there was before. And you know, I know that everybody should be proud of the accomplishment in getting this. You know, this is. I was talking to Jan too earlier, but this building's going to stand for another 100 years and tribute to the work that all of you and others have done. So thanks. You know, it's going to be a great place to work and use as a government center and a liquor store that can be successful and contribute to the community, and so much more. So thanks for all you've done.
Thank you for all of your time and effort too, Tim.
Yeah, thanks. Tim.
Yeah, this is truly one of those once-in-a-lifetime opportunities for all of us, for our community, so it is quite a big deal. Kay, would you like to share anything as a past council person as well?
With the speech, but I'm really impressed. So I'm just, yeah, I feel like I'm somewhere else. So that feels good right now, this time of year.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, it's kind of funny how the building layout really didn't change a whole lot. I mean, the liquor's still over there, and our council's kind of in the middle, and then office over there, and bathrooms in the southeast corner still. And
Mike
yet,
still gets the same view of the parking lot.
I do? Well, I switched walls.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I wonder if Stanley's ghost is roaming in here at all.
ooh.
Not yet. Never, Jim.
Yeah, I can remember quite a few phone conversations in our household about dinner time. Like, the dinner's getting cold. Gonna get home there, sure? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Craig, any thoughts? Make you feel not so far away?
Yeah, I wish I was there, for sure. Yeah, I have a lot of memories of the old building, and when I became a volunteer fireman, of course, that was the first. That's where the garages were, And I vividly remember your father's business, uh, the Midway catching on fire there too, Buck's business. So yeah, I remember lots of things. The old liquor store, the old on off that was there. Um, it's a big achievement, I think, for the city to have done this. I know it took a lot of time and a lot of preparation and a lot of looking at where monies can come from and budgeting and figuring it all out. And I'm just glad that we were able to do this and accomplish it without being a burden to the taxpayers of our community. I think it's something we fit in quite easily for us, and I think it's a nice space. It's going to be a great space moving forward. It really is. And the liquor store is a big addition, and it's good to have a nice big space there, something newer. It definitely needed to be upgraded, and I think that'll be a good profit center for the city. Yeah, I'm just thankful for everybody who worked on this. I know I'm a little piece of it, but there was a lot of people that worked on this thing. Many years went by to put this together. So yeah, I'm happy for that. I'm happy it turned out nice.
Yeah. Well, we wish you were here as well this evening. But of course, we're going to have a big open house later in May, which is really right almost around the corner, really.
Yeah.
But hopefully you'll be in town for that celebration. So,
Yep.
anyone else have any comments? Thoughts? No?
Yeah.
Mike? Nothing?
So good.
Just
It's all good.
trying to imagine
taking
where
it
you're
all in.
actually sitting. Yeah.
Yeah. That's fine.
Well, thanks again, everyone, and I'm glad we had a few moments to sit here and be thankful for what we have.
Yeah.
So, excellent. Okay, and with that, we will move on to the consent agenda for this evening. Any questions about the meeting minutes or bills or anything?
I'd make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
A second to that?
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor of the consent agenda, Craig?
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Aye. Mike?
Aye.
All right, and it's unanimous. And next up is our dark sky presentation. Mark?
Thank you. What a great building, and to be the first one to speak at it other than the honorees, it's really nice. So anyway, this is my third year. Thanks for having me. So just to update the council and the city on the events that we've been participating in some of our activities. As has been typical, we've been having tabling events at the art fair in Hovland, Fisherman's Picnic, and at the Dark Sky Festival in December. Upcoming ones maybe this year will be the same, and then also we've been talking with the Lutzen Winery about doing some things. And then we're also talking about having a star party maybe in August. There's a statewide, it's actually through the Bell Museum that's hosts a star party, and there's generally for the whole state, but we thought, hey, we've got great stars, so let's try to get that organized. We had 3 presentations at the Dark Sky Festival last December. And then we continue to collaborate with Visit Cook County on that festival and help them organizing and lining speakers up. Just recently, I recorded a little small piece on a podcast for Paddle and Portage, Joe Frederick, and then he's going to write up an article for his digital newspaper. So that'll be published in April and kind of time to come out with Dark Sky Week. We're also talking to Chuck Olson and WTIP about having maybe a somewhat regular little 5-minute conversation on some topic about dark skies. Several of us in the group now have sky quality meters that we can actually measure, accurately the darkness of the sky. And so we're trying to set up some regular spots and just check it monthly when we're in the dark sky week of the month when the moon is new. In Lutzen area and Tofty, we've got some members down there. And then Travis is doing some up on Portage in the reservation. So the really reason that I'm here, of course, is Dark Sky Week is April 21st to 28th this year. And we're hoping that Grand Marais will declare that dark sky. I sent a presentation to the board, to Tracy. And then one last thing, we are starting in collaboration with the Duluth chapter of Starry Skies, a dark sky friendly business certification. No cost to the businesses to be certified other than them making good lighting choices. We have, there's 3 criteria, basically no outdoor fixture that is shining light up into the sky, no fixture that trespasses light past their property line, so basically shielded lights, and then having the outdoor lighting with the yellowish 2700 Kelvin temperature rating. So we're just getting started. I think Duluth is going to have a press conference later this month in coordination with the Dark Sky Week. They've got several businesses and organizations that they've identified that are compliant. And so I've been driving around the city in the evening and checking out, and this building certainly looks like it'll qualify. Voyager, North House, several of the restaurants, I think, with little or minimal changes would qualify for this. So what do you get, you might ask? Basically, a certificate just says that they're dark sky compliant and friendly, and then also a window cling that they can put on their door if they want, so that as their customers come in, they can say, that we're dark sky friendly and supporting the dark sky and the fight against light pollution.
Nice.
So, any questions that I can try to answer?
Well, I know we asked you to reach out with our new apartment buildings coming into play, and it sounded like all that went pretty well.
Yeah, I did. I've talked with actually Gary a little bit, and it looks like, from what I can tell, we reached out on the development up the hill on 5th there. And
Flint View.
they're just starting to install fixtures outside, and from what I can see from the road, they look pretty good. So that's real exciting. So, and then we also, me and another person met with Shane the other day in the city, and just to talk to him and get some updates maybe on some of the projects that are maybe starting to develop that we can contact. So
Sure.
yeah.
Great.
So otherwise, I think we've been pretty successful in that.
Anyone else have any questions for Mark?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
It's great.
Thank you for your
Glad to do it.
efforts. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, and thanks for the great new building. So
We'll take a window clean.
yeah, we will. As soon as we so they're having the mayor. They're trying to get the mayor to do the presentation. So maybe when we start kicking ours off, we could have Tracy present to some of the business owners. So
And to
I'll be
yourself.
meeting with the Grand Marais Business Council, I think, next week to kind of
Business Coalition.
So,
Yeah.
Back in this room.
yeah.
There
Yep.
you go.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. And then it's
Yep.
a proclamation away. Okay, very good. All right, thank you. And next up, it's North House with their annual report. Yeah, everyone, this is like a special night to be here.
It is. Come on up. And I should just be able to share my screen? Yep. Awesome. Well, so first, congratulations and thank you for having us here. Greg Wright with North House Folk School.
I'm Carol Winter, I'm the board chair at North House.
And we didn't know there was going to be a party, but we did bring a housewarming gift. And I hope it's okay that it's cookies. I'm
Why
sorry.
not?
Apparently,
How can
this
you
is
ever
the
have too
theme for
many
the
cookies?
evening. So,
Yeah.
and there's plenty even for the guests. So can I hand these around? Is that allowed in your space?
Let's try it and see how it goes.
Okay. Oh, wait, well,
We'll
literally, so I can
experiment.
turn like this. Oh my gosh. Here we go, Patrick. Are you in? Thank you. Awesome. Fantastic. So just to confirm, since I'm having so much fun right now, Tracy, can I put one by your
I
spot?
just went to grab napkins
Okay.
for all
Bill,
my
would you like one? And there's napkins too.
co-workers
Perfect, thank you.
here.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot, Greg.
Yeah, I've got one.
Appreciate that.
And
Oh, you got one. Okay.
you know, to confirm, we get to come and stay connected with you guys once a year.
Yeah.
It's a really important
Oh, great.
partnership
Got
for us.
napkins?
Are you guys
Yeah.
interested?
Oh.
Cookies are good for you, remember? And we have some pictures of the past year and also some updates on kind of the numbers and how things are going. So, Craig, I'm sorry. Everybody online, I apologize. Carol, are you?
I'm good.
You're
for
okay,
now.
we're not gonna eat and talk at the same time, okay. All right, well then, let's just, if we're ready, we'll jump in. Is that okay?
Let's do it.
Okay, great.
Craig can click to allow cookies.
Okay. Okay, so our annual report to the city of Grand Marais. Great to be here. Honored and excited, and especially on a night like tonight. Obviously, why are we here? Well, you know, our home on the harbor is a gift you gave to us a number of years ago. 1997, when North House started, we got to rent the space for 6 months at a time. I don't know if everybody remembers this, but we do. For 4.5 years, we shepherded the journey forward for 6 months at a time. And then it was 5 years, and then obviously we moved into a next chapter. So a lot has happened in those years. And thinking about 2024, it's kind of fun. We share something in common. We both built things in the past year, right? And if we look back at 2024, it was a huge year for the school. A lot of transformation, a lot of really inspiring progress. And it's safe to say, you guys love your building, and we love our building. I don't know if you've been in it yet. You're always invited. And if you're curious, why is there a picture of cake being served? Well, that's the night of the community open house. The building opened for the first time to the public on Thursday night of Unplugged. We had a community open house. We purchased 450 pieces of carrot cake. And how do you deliver 400, or how do you pick up 450 pieces of carrot cake? In the back of your pickup with a topper, don't worry. And how many were left at the end of 2 hours?
0.
Absolutely correct. So over 400, and not that many of us ate more than one piece. So it was great community turnout. It was so much fun. And, you know, and that said, is that the only way we get people on campus? Well, no. I mean, I think you understand that. We're a place where the community gathers. And one of the really fun things on the right with the flowers, one of our traditions at Unplugged is we've been having a family concert Saturday morning. Really cool to have kids loving music on campus. In the middle, we've hosted, this winter, we hosted a First Friday series, square dancing to contra dancing to a talk by a guy named Lonnie Dupree, right, who's sailing north to sail around Greenland, or sail up to Greenland. Packed house, over 100 people there. And First Fridays also include dinner on a stick. And if you were curious, what do they mean, dinner on a stick? This is an advertisement. That's what we mean. And last Friday, there was everything from marinated chicken and bratwurst to shish kebabs. So it's a pretty good eat. And that said, of course, a lot more than just shish kebabs at North House. We connect the North. And this is one of the things we get to do in Grand Marais because of the people we bring in. Shuji Nakagawa from Japan in the middle, our featured instructor during Unplugged. Nila Uma from Sami knife maker from northern Scandinavia last year in November at Winter's Gathering. And on the right, Barn the Spoon, probably the most famous spoon carver in the world. His second time on the North House campus. And his question is, when do I get to come back? I mean, these are the kind of friends you want all around the world. And that said, it isn't just about fancy instructors from everywhere, it's about us. And I don't know what could be a better example of that than our partnership with the Good Harbor Hill Players, one of very many different nonprofits we work with. The Solstice Pageant every year is like this quintessential moment in the North, kind of the kickoff of summer, and just this joyous gathering, one of many different seasonal gatherings we host. And of course, I think you all appreciate we're incredibly committed to serving local youth. I don't know how many years now we've done free programs for every 3rd, 4th, and 5th grader in the community. Similarly, we do a timber frame program, which will start this Monday, free, that the kids participate. This year, 12 different high school kids coming down to campus. You know, but we also do clogging workshops for kids that are much smaller than the timber framers who come. So lots of cool things that we do for local youth, after school, summer camps, spring break camps, etc. Are there still things looking forward? I mean, what else is happening? You just built a building, and the answer is actually a lot is happening. Over to the right, on the lower part, obviously you recognize that green building. This spring, we'll be installing 2 more solar arrays, one which will cover the western part of the green building, and one that'll be on top of the new building. My understanding is we will be the largest producer of solar electricity in Grand Marais. I think this is correct. Mike maybe can correct me, but my understanding is we're going to break the 40 kilowatt threshold, which is pretty cool. Shane's working with us on that. Also, as many people may know, to the right in the upper side, that's the intern space. The interns now live in the western part of the green building. We've expanded our program to 5 people. And this is, how do we meet future makers? How do we grow future staff? How do we find future Cook County community members? Turns out the North House program is one of them. But we're also remodeling the eastern side of the building now for instructor lodging, because where do instructors live while they're on campus teaching? And the answer is not enough room upstairs in the fish house anymore, so we need a little bit more space. And this week is our instructor retreat. 70 of our 160 artisans, 70 of them will be on campus this week for coursework, professional development. I know of no other gathering like this in the nation. How often do you have 70 blacksmith to sausage makers to weavers all in the same place doing professional development? It's almost unheard of. So I think this was in your packet, but I want to confirm. If you want to look at the numbers, we're happy to do so. We've exited 2024 in a really strong financial position. We've paid for all of our construction with cash. That's pretty good for your balance sheet. You can see growth in pretty much every area on the left side. And you can see, obviously, increases in expenses, of course, but most of that increase in expense is centered in the realm of programming, which is the core of our mission, the core of our work. Obviously, just want to make sure, and also in the packet, performance criteria. Part of what we promised to do for you is run a great organization financially. We promised to grow for you. That was one of the things you asked us to do. And we promised to take good care of campus. Our guess is we maybe invested about $1 million in the campus space we rent from you. And those are assets, just to confirm, that you own and that we care for. So if you're curious, the only other thing we included in the packet was history of student days since before the pandemic and spanning this into the present year. So how does this graph work? The graph below shows you the number of student days in each month for over a series of years. A student day is the number of days any single student is in class. So one student in a 3-day class is 3 student days. 3 students in a 1-day class is 3 student days. Very good, Kelly, I'm proud.
I'm an accountant.
Absolutely. So for instance, 591 student days in January of 2025 isn't 3 students in a 1-day class. That's a lot more than 3 students, right? And so up above is the graphic representation, and you can see it reads, the blue bar on the left is our goal for 2025. The next bar in red is the actual, and then gold is actual 24, green is actual 23, right? And you can see, can you see the pandemic right there in the middle, the drop off? Absolutely. Have we returned to levels at or above 2019? Yes. You know, we're past the pandemic. We're very strong. Last year, when there was no snow, that didn't make a difference in North House. We had waiting lists. This year, when the Canadian visitors are less, you know, there's some friction there, right? We're really strong. So I'm sorry, I don't have the 25 March numbers in there. But I think the core thing is fiscal strength, programmatic strength, taking care of the facility, we like to think we're doing good work, just like you asked us to. So we're here also for questions. I tried to do that fast, hopefully not too fast, but also hopefully not too slow. Questions or needs that we can address for you otherwise?
No, like the charts, like the graphs, thanks. It's nice to see all that. And,
Okay.
You know, later at them.
Yeah.
I have just, one comment just to kind of double check on. Cause as you know, I've taken a zillion courses over many years. And one thing that I know you do very, very well always is a great welcoming to everyone who comes there. And you also provide really good information for guests and students about what to expect around North House and in our community at large.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing you do this already, but with the concern we have around parking in that whole area between all the various businesses and everything, it's an area we never envisioned would ever grow like this, but it really has, right? Like who knew? There's lots going on right in there, and the Highway 61 clearly did not totally, as you worked hard to as well, fix our parking and traffic issues. So my only question is then, getting back to this, so when you write up those nice sheets and let everyone know, are you making sure that all your guests are aware that there is no overnight parking during our winter season on Highway 61 and the First Avenue, or
Fifth Avenue.
Fifth,
from
yeah.
First down, that the county asked us to make sure there was no parking on during the winter as well, that everyone knows they shouldn't be parking there? So that's my only ask.
And the simple answer is, we regularly communicate with all of our students in advance in multiple ways. We, for instance, will often have signage on our front doors confirming, please don't park on Fifth Avenue West. You know, having said all of this, did I witness a car totally buried in the snow on Highway 61 after the last blizzard? I sure did. And I was glad I wasn't shoveling that car out, but somebody was. I don't believe that happens all that often. We'll try harder to make sure people get the message. I think it's yeah, so.
Well, and I just figured, because I knew you did that, you know, for that's why it says, person took classes, I knew that was a thing you're really good about, is letting everyone know about the community and your things, so I figured that you were, just wanted to double check.
Yeah, and,
because it's a change.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and pedestrian traffic, I mean, is another, the safety of that corridor is another real key thing. Mike and I have talked about it, we've talked with Robbie, as well, you know, so you know, how do we make sure that space is as safe as it can be is another key question. Yeah, anything you'd add?
So,
Not directly related to that, I just told Greg at the beginning when we were talking that we keep saying that our new building came in on time, on budget, and on target, and if he says it in the report you received, what do we mean by on target? But it just means, like this building, it got all the things in it that we wanted it to. The replacement classrooms, but which are much, much nicer than what we had before, and the store space, and the elevator that gets people easily down to the rest of campus, and bathrooms. So that's the target.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks.
All right, yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for the treats.
Yeah.
Well,
Appreciate it.
there's more. Okay, stop sharing, right, Patrick? Stop sharing.
Sell those at the store?
These are from Crosby Bakery, just to confirm.
Oh, so cool. A store, not
A store.
A store.
We do sell them at our store too.
Be sure. Thanks. Just at dinner.
So are those lights on a timer out there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Which lights?
In the hall?
All of the lights, except in here.
Are they
Is it like
motion
going
in here?
shopping at Target down the freezer
Yeah.
aisle?
Doom, 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 doom.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. All right. So, next up is the Heights Development Agreement.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a little brief memo in your packet. So for those paying attention at home, we're doing a development agreement with the Heights for a few reasons. There are some improvements that they're making that are in the public space and that are really designed for potentially more than just this phase one owner. And so we want to make sure that those improvements are sufficient for that purpose. They're also making some improvements that are planning on living in our public space in perpetuity, like the stormwater pond is the best example of that, which we're gonna need to establish a relationship of who's going to be maintaining, which you'll see that agreement in the near future. So we have this development agreement. This is the template that we use for, you'll see it typically subdivisions that are building new streets and utilities. It's really the same deal with the same terms, other than the ones that aren't relevant to this. So it's a little bit stripped down, but otherwise the same as the ones that you've recently seen. All the terms are agreeable to the developer and to us. We just heard from the last party about that a couple hours ago, that everything's good to go. So if you wouldn't mind, please approve the attached agreement. If you do, we'll get the signatures within the next couple of days or a week, get it recorded, and maybe you want to tell us a little bit about your construction schedule. Your microphone's off. You did that on purpose. Should we?
Thank you, Mike. We are prepared to start anytime. And in fact, if we hadn't had the snowfall last Wednesday, we might have already started. It's just a question of getting equipment up and on the site and moving. So we intend to have a groundbreaking ceremony. We will already have started construction, but then we'll have a groundbreaking ceremony sometime in May to late May, maybe tying in with the event you talked about a moment ago, Madam Mayor, just because a lot of people will be in town for that. So at any rate, our plans are being approved at this moment by the state of Minnesota. They have to be reviewed, and since there is no building inspector here, the state does that for apartments. So that is underway, and some back and forth has gone, and we've made some adjustments based on their comments, targeting that. Our time in the factory, remember this is a modular construction, and so booking time in the factory is really critical, and we are booked. And we may be able to accelerate that timetable by a couple of weeks, the way things are going at this moment also. So there's going to be a flurry of activity, and you're going to see a big building there sometime in June or the beginning of July. And then it's just a matter of how fast we can button it up and get it open. We will begin marketing the project. We've been very quiet with it so far, simply because there's been so many other things going on. But Monday we launch our marketing efforts with a major meeting with all the players, and we will refine that program, and you'll start seeing noise, which will be, let's change the word noise to music, and it should be very exciting, and we're looking forward. We know the competitive project is doing extraordinarily well. They are actually, we had projections for absorption. They are surpassing the projections that we had. Meaning, they're doing well. They're going to open up practically 100% full. They'll be very close to that number, which is good because that gets them out of the way for us. And there is demand. I mean, the study that the county did back in 2022 is still very valid. I mean, these two projects together do not meet the demand. So our project, we're looking forward to being a very, very competitive alternative project in town. And again, there will be people moving in this year. So,
Great.
Any questions further? Okay. All right. We thank everybody on the city council for your help over the long period that this has been developing. And I've said this many times. We've never received any real obstacles from anybody in town, including City Hall. You guys have always been supportive, and you have ways you want things done. That's fine. We're meeting those requests, and requirements, and you're not putting up anything, that's an obstacle to us. So just a long, hard process to get here, but Mike and I finally got here, ready to go, so thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Well, this is quite a
Thanks,
deal, as, you know, Greg said, North House has put up a brand new building and the city hall. I mean, there's just been a lot of new things going on in our community. And it's not something we're used to managing from a city as, right, you know, all these bigger projects, it's a lot there to do, so it's a big learning all the way around. But a lot of change and positive one for the community, so. Everybody.
Yeah.
I would like to motion to approve the Heights Development Agreement as presented.
Second?
I'll second.
All right. Any further questions or comments? Anything from you, Craig?
No.
Alrighty. I'll take a roll call vote then. Mike? Go.
Aye.
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 Aye. Ben?
Aye.
Craig?
Aye.
And with that, it's unanimous.
Tracy, can I turn on your,
Oh, yes, sorry.
we're picking it up, but it'll be.
Yeah, just trying to make sure I didn't cough at the wrong moment. All right. All right. We're all set then for this evening. We'll move on to council and staff reports. Craig, would you like to go first?
Yeah, that's fine. We had a park board meeting. April, when was that? Second. We had discussions, reservations are tracking upwards. They were back behind a little bit last month, but this month they're tracking upwards. We're seeing people booking reservations that are actually staying longer, which is kind of nice. We also had a discussion talking about doing improvements on Bathhouse 3 and looking at that area where the rec hall sits and what we may talk about what the need of that rec hall renovation might be. And so there's going to be some talking with the LHB designer on the bathhouse anyway, moving forward. And then Tracy came to our meeting and Mayor Benson came and met with us and we talked about the park board's role in reviewing proposals for public art, things like that comes before us to be put in place on city land. And I think a big help that's come out of the public art with working with the CEC is the fact that we now have a public art policy and an application process. So if anybody's coming who wants to place art on city land or park land, they have an application that they can fill out and that'll help get the project moving instead of the way it was handled in the past, where sometimes, you know, it can get pushed back to the city, back to the park board, back and forth. This way we have an application that states out and lists out how the process is going to be achieved in order to accomplish that. So it was good to have that discussion. And also, I think the park board will have some more discussions on what more role we can play in helping that process be workable with the CEC and also the city itself. Let's see, I think that's pretty much everything we had on the agenda. I didn't have a golf report this month, so we'll wait for the snow to melt. That's all I have.
All right, thanks. Ben?
I didn't have anything. We had no planning and zoning. We haven't, HR hasn't met.
Oh, that's right, that's next week, yeah. Okay, all right. Bill?
I have nothing.
Must be April. Michael?
I have one thing from the library board, which we met. Much of that you guys probably saw on the update from the library. But one thing we were discussing is putting in cameras. It had been recommended that we have those for safety. And we got a couple of bids, but they were expensive. And we really didn't have that in our budget, so we asked Amanda to look for some other alternatives. So maybe we'll still have it happen yet this year, but you know, we're just gonna wait and see if we can get a price we can afford. So that was, but yeah. So we didn't end up doing it. It was kind of there, could have done it, but the numbers didn't pan out. We couldn't afford it, so. But we still want to do it, and we understand that it's, you know, a basic safety thing nowadays to have cameras, and so we're still pursuing it, but
Sure.
we'll see what happens. Hopefully we'll get another.
Broaden your net, maybe you'll.
Yeah, I mean,
Or something else.
what we're really doing is gonna ask Mr. Riddlebauer if he had any ideas about something he might be
Oh.
able to put together for us.
Sure.
That he would also be willing to then, you know, be the maintenance person for as well.
Got it.
So that's kind of our hope, is that maybe that'll work out, but we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So just to touch again on what Craig said, I went to the park board and I talked to Dave Tierstig beforehand, and I said, I think that the city council, and maybe it starts with the HR committee, a little bit broader conversation about the various boards we have, because they serve a very important function. They all operate a little differently and different roles and responsibilities, but maybe we should kind of just take a broad brush look at all of them. And I thought this was a great time with how all that went with the last art project, but just really at a broader look. And because that board in particular, really, they help run a major business operation. They have a lot on their plate. I would love to get some feedback from them about how they feel about their roles and responsibilities on their board, just to kind of start thinking about all of that. I would like to reach out to other communities and get an idea about how they operate their various boards. But I thought this was a good first step, just to gather information. So I just presented that, and since Dave had put the art policy on there, then I handed that out to them, and we talked a little bit about it and about this last process. But I said, please read this and absorb it, and then we can talk about it another time, rather than trying to read something for the first time, because I was unaware that had never been shared with them, and we approved that several months ago, but it didn't reach them. So I thought, you need time to absorb this, and then if you want me to come back another time, we can, talk it through or whatever. So anyways, that I thought was really good, and they made some really great comments. It didn't even dawn on me even that night that like some light bulbs went on for me to think about. So it was a good meeting. We had an East Bay project update meeting. Shane called for us because with the uncertainty at the federal level, we weren't sure where we sat with the Army Corps of Engineers on that work. We were ready. We had our finances lined up. We've been awarded a coastal grant as well to help with that funding for the design work and to get those, I guess they're meters? I don't know what you call the systems. They were going to check and monitor all the wave action for, the winter months. Anyways, so.
And that's on the East Bay?
Yep.
Okay.
And that's for the East Bay. And their funding at the Army Corps, what they have available now has already been allocated, and they have no certainty about what's coming their way in the future, and hopefully plan to know by October if they'll have dollars for us again. And the Coastal Grant Program said that our grant is secure. They can wait to see where we sit with that. So that was good news. In the meantime, Shane will, we were just about ready to finalize the SOW with them, so we'll still want to get that finalized. And then between Shane and Stephen Janessi is his role as Cook County Soil and Water, keep that front of mind with everyone from the Army Corps and along with the DNR, because they're very supportive of this project. And one of those gentlemen was actually on the board that approved that grant for us. So we have a lot of support for this project, but like so many things right now, we just don't know where the money sits. And it's been really nice to have Margaret Watkins and Krishna Warhardy with us from Grand Portage because of their expertise about water. So they've been great to have at the table for us too, super helpful. And we hope in turn that this will be helpful for them because they have a lot of projects up at Portage in the harbor too that they're trying to figure out. They've had a lot of the same erosion and storm issues, so
Yeah.
hopefully all the way around this ends up being beneficial for everyone. Just as, and of course, one more time, opening on the PUC board. Just want to say that publicly to anyone out there who's joining us this evening. We could use another member on the PUC board. And then finally, maybe, speaking of all of our potential new rental properties, did anybody read the NPR story today about, especially in rural Minnesota, the problems with rental properties when you don't have always the, the employee and staff time or inspection processes in place to monitor apartment buildings. Now, granted, we're going to have brand new apartment buildings. We've never had them before, and we are going to probably have more. And so it's a topic I thought maybe we'd want to talk about at a work session. How do we keep track of those? And we already know kind of what happened with Birchwood. So we know things can happen amiss. So when everything's new and shiny, you're not thinking about it, but it might be worth some conversation for us. So I can send a link to that article to Patrick if you want, and if you want to read it. But it has several different communities and where they're at. Bemidji was one of them to read about. So just food for thought. That might be a future topic conversation. Okay. That's all I had. Mike?
Boy, it's been a while since we've talked about building inspections, the actual factual building code inspections, but it seems like that's where that conversation might creep into a little bit. So I'm surprised it's been a while. It seems like that's something that creeps up every couple of years, and we've taken 6 or 7 off since we really had a in-depth conversation about it. I'm glad you updated us on the East Bay. I was going to mention that if you didn't. I'll just mention a couple other things. The county's going to meet with us tomorrow with some preliminary planning for their law enforcement center project. And I just want to say thank you, county, for reaching out to us early on in your project to try and understand what our approval processes are and to look at our policies, like, for instance, dark sky or our sustainability programs or everything else. It's really a good idea on their part to reach out. I appreciate it, and we'll try to be as helpful as we can with them. And then I'm meeting with Jeff Brand, the HRA director, tomorrow to talk with him about how to move forward on the next apartment project. If you'll recall, we are going to be involved in another potential apartment project on the property that's adjacent to our Public Works garage. So Jeff and I will be figuring out how best to get that back on your agenda and continue the conversation.
So they heard from the architect, the gentleman who?
He's had conversations with the developer, and so it seems like it's time to get that back on. So perhaps that'd be a topic for your next work session in a couple weeks, if we've got a lot to talk about. Otherwise, we'll just get it on a regular agenda if there's some information we can share and action that's required to move forward.
Okay.
And thanks a lot for the new building. I think this is working out just how we had hoped. Tomorrow we'll have our first outside group that's in here organizing a meeting, and it's already starting to fill up. Of course, we've been asked what our policy is, and we don't have one yet for how to reserve this space. But we're working on that. We're just figuring out how to operate it. So lastly, a big thanks to Patrick for a lot of hard work last week when the AV was installed in this room. And, it seems like it's working out pretty well. So hopefully for the folks that are watching this on live stream, it's also a good production. It was really one of the things we wanted to focus on with this space, was making sure that this meeting was something that would be professional, would be available for folks to come in, but also for folks who want to watch on the live stream. So look for feedback on that. But once again, thanks, Patrick, for all the extra work.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Patrick. Yeah. We're all set? Is that it?
That's it.
Wow. First meeting complete.
Check.
More cookies and brownies. Well, thanks, everyone.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Good evening,
Good
Chris.
night.
Thanks.
Thanks, Craig. Thanks, Chris.
Yep.
I have one question before you go, which is, Is it still possible to open the outside door so that I can hear the seagulls?
Nope.
Because I honestly, it reminds me of home. I always loved hearing the seagulls, so.
think,
I don't think I
I
remember a
think we
truck
need
driving
to,
by either.
we need to
Craig?
install a live, we need to install a live cam on the building.
There we go.
Okay.
People
Yeah,
can log
When we get
in
the green
and
roof up,
they
we'll
can
do
see
that.
the seagulls.
Yeah.
yeah.
Circulating can.
We can
Have a
do
good
that.
night,
Put them on
everybody.
top of all the
Oh, on
streetlights.
top of our beer can sign.
Oh,
Oh, it just gets better. I'm still waiting for that. I want my twirling beer can